CJ.
Hi.
Welcome to Book Lovers.
Thank you.
So please tell us who is CJ? CJ Gicheru.
I dislike that question
Why?
because it always gives me
Goosebumps.
not goosebumps but interview vibes. You know, like when you're asked, tell us about yourself.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm such an expansive person. What do you want to know? Do you want to know about my
Social life.
social life, the nastiness that I do,
Yeah.
outside of
Or
work?
like the professional stuff,
Yeah.
serious stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, tell me about myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm CJ Gicheru. I'm a reader, I'm a writer, I'm a storyteller, and I think last year we added author to that. So that's the buy my book.
Yeah.
What else? I'm a drifter. So I think part of me just wants to be moving around anywhere and everywhere. So an eternal nomad, I think. And what else? I enjoy traveling here and there. I can't call myself a foodie because Nairobi has completely taken away the what it means to be a foodie. You can't enjoy ugali and call yourself a foodie.
Plus the pure ugali, it has to be like, kama it's too soft, then it's not ugali enough.
No, it has to be shaped. You see this the way restaurants do it, like you are chotaing ugali with a kikombe so that it's circular. So yeah, let's stick to author, writer, reader, storyteller,
yeah, and drifter,
and a
or
lover,
hiker,
and a lover,
and a lover, of course. CJ.
Yeah.
So please tell us about your work.
My work.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is writing.
Related to writing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So number one, I have a blog. I don't think I qualify for the title blogger in the context of the Kenyan situation.
Yeah. But you've been nominated before for like.
Yeah, I have. But you know now, when you angusha a blogger, people start thinking of
Clothes.
Politics. You talking smack about Jubilee and COD. Jubilee angusha by the way. But so yeah, I have a blog. I write mostly about love and loss. So I think like I'm a closeted romantic. So yeah, or whatever that leads to you. So mostly my writing is mostly about love. So the stories of Kenyans finding and losing love. Yeah. So I have a blog, and then I also write super short stories, 300 words on social media. So maybe 300 words, and I have the book. And sometimes I also write for other websites, but that hasn't been significant.
Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about the book.
I
I don't know why you're laughing.
Because I know the question.
Let's first of all see the book.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's called When a Stranger Called.
And other stories.
So
this is a collection of stories written by you and few other people.
Yeah.
So could you please tell us about how that came
How it-
about?
Yeah.
Before we read.
So When a Stranger Called is an anthology, which means basically a short collection of short stories. So it's a collaborative. The Kikuyu will always come out. Effort by myself and 12 other writers, so 13 people in total, and each one of us contributed to the book. So we just linked up and figured, let's do something interesting.
Yeah.
And the book is my first baby.
Okay, let's see the baby. CJ, it's a book, please. Yeah. Yeah. So let's So I haven't read the book, and I promise I'll read.
Why not?
I know. I promise, but I keep my promises. Like I don't make promises, but when I do, I keep them. I'll read the book. I'll buy the book and read the book.
Yeah.
So your story is the first story.
It's the first story.
I saw a photo of the first page of the story, and I was like, ooh.
Kinda.
Please, if you don't mind, let's just read few.
Let me give context to it first, because
explain yourself first.
like people get taken away or taken aback or whatever the phrase is,
Yeah.
by the first line.
Yeah.
So it was born out of desperation.
Yeah. What the story about? Yeah.
So when we got together, we of course, because it's a lot of people, we set a deadline. Like you need to write and submit by this time.
Yeah.
And because like Africa is in me and Kenya is in me, and timing sometimes is a challenge.
Yeah.
So I think it was like 2 weeks to the deadline, and I hadn't written anything. So I was a little bit desperate, and I was trying to tell. So the way I try and write is write stories that make sense for me and to me. So I'm trying to tell stories that are authentic to the existence I live, that my friend who is a kawaida Kenyan can relate to. So when the story came to mind, I think it's the first line is what now came to mind. It was like boom, and then everything flowed. So I don't write erotica.
No, let's just read the story first, and we will decide because we'll also talk about the stories on your blog.
Yeah. So the story is called Wairimo.
Oh.
Yeah. I think it's born partly out of my love for women from my community. Yeah. So do I start?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So my mother hasn't seen this book, so this yeah. So it goes, he fondles his penis gently, caresses the head. Nothing. He moves his hand to the shaft, moving the hand gently over it in a back and forward rocking motion. Nothing. He moves the hand to his scrotum, clean shaven, just the way she likes it. Massages his balls, the way you would a breast, gently, firmly, like a Kenyan politician fondling the National Reserve, greedily. He still feels nothing. He grabs his wife's lotion from the cabinet above the mirror. He spreads some on his right hand. Then that's it. Yeah. Oh.
Where do you get because I have to say not so many writers can do such, especially this being your first. I'm sure you've written other stories, but this was the first story that was to be published. Where do you get, I don't want to ask the courage, but where do you get the, let me use the word courage, courage to write such a story? Were you not scared? You're like, okay, what, like, has your mom even read the book?
She hasn't read the book.
Or your mom's friends?
So I think I try and work out my relationships separate.
Yeah.
So and I think me and my family, we have a live and let live sort of mentality. Yeah. So if I'm not destroying anyone's life,
then they shouldn't be
to my sham. So I think that's what. Yeah.
So for someone who wants to get the book, where can they get the book? Of course, to read the rest of the story and the other stories.
You can find me on social media. Do I angusha my name here?
Yeah.
So I'm CJ Gicheru. So that's CJ space Gicheru everywhere. So on Twitter, on Facebook, on Insta. Unfortunately, these are the on Tinder. I was on Tinder for about 2 hours, but the ratchetry. Maybe at the end of this year when you leave, when Jubilee leaves.
But by the way, Jubilee because
Itoke kabisa. Responsible for the cold.
Of course, the Nairobi baridi. Hi. So I want to talk about the stories you write on your blog. Okay. Would you say that you don't write about erotica?
On my blog or on my socials?
On your blog.
Okay.
So they're different. Some of them are like, so when it comes to writing stories, do you have a different type of stories that you write for the blog? Yeah. And then, okay, so please tell us about that.
So the blog is usually 1,000 words and up. Mm-hmm. On my social media, it's usually 300, 400 words. Mm-hmm. Maybe 500 max. Yeah. But it's mostly 300 and 400.
Then what kind of stories do you write for both?
So for social media, it's flash fiction, something you can read in 5 minutes flat. And then for the blog, we do a bit longer that needs to maybe settle down and yeah.
Okay. So I've read several of the stories on your blog.
Okay.
And you said you don't write erotica.
I don't write erotica.
But that's the kind of stories you write. Erotica and sex and love. You say that you write about love, but of course you can't separate sex erotica from love, the kind of love that you write about. I don't know.
I think I write about love. Okay. And one of the expressions of
love,
of the way we express our love as sexual beings is through sex.
Okay.
And
so they're love stories.
So they're love stories that may have a sexual component. Yeah. And now, now, again, since Kenyans, we like to pretend we are a conservative society.
Yes.
If anything you write has the word penis once,
Bas.
Erotica writer!
But I'm sure you'll make such a great erotica writer. So your love stories, the stories on your blog, I find them very relatable because when it comes to the love stories that we know, we grew up watching soap operas, a lot of white and Mexican and Indian love stories, which is actually what we identify with. But for your stories, I can relate to them because I'm like, actually, that's how I feel about this person. These are the kind of struggles we talk about. When we talk about Tuskegee hot dogs, when we talk about Nairobi and Nairobi women and
Nairobi girls.
I know, so they're very relatable and also very authentic and also very simple. Like I don't have to struggle to understand what to write in the story. Like it's so easy. That's how I find them.
Yeah.
So I would like to know. So apart from the women, what else?
What inspires?
Because I know the women are somewhere on top. So apart from
the women are here.
I know.
Have you seen Nairobi women?
I know. Yeah. So who else? What else inspires the writing?
That question is so difficult because sometimes the story finds me.
Yeah.
In the sense that I'm just I'm leaving and then go like, oh no, this would be a dope story.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I seek it out. And so where does inspiration? I don't know. May just open a Word document and yeah. So inspiration comes from everywhere. So sometimes maybe there was a story I wrote about pancakes and it came to me because I was actually making pancakes.
Oh, you also
then you're like, okay, yeah, I also booked. Yeah. So I'm just living life, and then sometimes the story comes, and then sometimes I sit down and just think, and it comes somehow. Yeah.
That's good. So word on the street, or I heard this somewhere, not sure where, that you're working on a book.
Yes, we are.
Your
book. Mine.
Yeah.
I might have made a few promises.
So do you want us to tell about what the book's going to be about? What are the plans?
So I've made promises to people.
Yeah.
Those promises won't be kept.
Because of COVID and Jubilee, of course, yeah?
Yeah, we're blaming Jubilee for everything. Uhuru Kenyatta needs to do better. But mostly it's because of laziness. Yeah, that's the major issue. But I do have another anthology coming out soon. Okay. But again, a collaboration.
The other people, yeah.
So in terms of my own effort, I need to stop being lazy and to get a couple of things in order. And there's also the thing with doing collaborations is since 300 people are expecting it, it's so difficult to be lazy because you have to write it. But when it's your own effort,
you're the one making.
Yeah, and then there's what do you call it? This confidence thingy. I forgot the word. When you aren't sure of your stuff, what's the word?
Michelle, your English, It's called
imposter syndrome. Yeah. Thank you. So when you're doing, if I'm doing either if I'm doing an anthology or I'm doing a full novel, the game is different.
Yeah.
Because a blog is 1,000 words. A proper novel should start off at 30,000 words. it's easy to keep your attention for
Yeah.
1,000 words. For 1,000 words, I can cheza with it. I can
Yeah.
edit it. It's gonna come out relatively nicely.
Yeah.
So for 30,000 words,
It's a lot.
the game is different.
Yeah.
And there's also the aspect that you want to respect your reader, to make sure you're delivering work that they can be proud of, to hand over the book to their children and maybe to their children's children.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
let's pray for it. But it shall come out, inshallah.
Yeah. So you also work in finance.
Yes.
So do you see yourself going into writing as something you want to do like full time? Not the word full time is not the correct, but more like that's the main thing that you do. Like, do you foresee yourself being like just an author and writer and storyteller and that? Yeah. Do you foresee such?
It depends, huh?
Yeah.
So the thing is, finance pays the bills. I'm not saying writing right now brings in money, but
finance is what.
Like if I were to lose finance versus writing income, I would keep finance income.
Writing can hold, yeah.
Yeah. So would I ever leave? At some point, I want to retire, and I truly want to retire early. So if that happens, the door for writing full time now opens up wider.
Yeah.
So there's the possibility of it, but it really depends on the money. Like if someone gave me a 6-figure income monthly,
yeah,
to write, now the conversation will be different. Yeah,
that's true. Truth is what matters.
Yeah.
Now I want us to talk about your reading. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's say something you feel like or think you wanted left out when it comes to your writing and you want to share.
Your writing.
So how would you compare your writing and your reading?
I read a lot more than I write, which is kidogo unfair.
Yeah.
But I always try and convince myself rather that the more I imbibe writing, I experience different writing styles, the better my own writing becomes. Yeah. So, but that's also an excuse to be lazy. But my reading is a lot more nuanced. It's wider as compared to my writing. Yeah.
So, what kind of books do you read?
To be honest, I don't read as many books as I would like. Mostly, I read either essays and articles. So I don't know, they find me everywhere. So mostly on Twitter, people are always sharing, or rather the people I follow share interesting pieces. Some of them are at longer 2,000, 5,000, 10K ones. So that's interesting. In terms of books, I hate to admit this, but I don't read as much fiction as I should, or even non-fiction. So mostly my reading is rather, for the present year, has been largely around around finance.
Okay.
So trying to get better at it and to make more money.
Yeah. Please share. I also love reading finance or business related. Do you have any books? Because sometimes when people talk about reading, they think it's about African lit, fiction and whatnot. But there's a lot to be read. Yeah. And there are also books that can maybe particular fields like finance and whatnot. So what books have you read recently or in the past in finance that you loved? Money, things about money, which I think everyone should read about money because
it's very important, especially even as a creative.
Yeah.
I think as creatives we tend to be, I think this is me maybe making a blanket assumption, but I think we sort of are lazy in the sense that tunasema a creative should not understand business.
Yeah.
Which is wrong.
But you want to make money. So how are you going to make money if you don't?
It doesn't make sense. Yeah. You need to have a fundamental understanding of how biashara works, so that you're not selling books at silly prices.
Yeah.
I would rather not sell a book than make a loss on it. But anyway,
do you have any writers, authors, or storytellers that you look up to, or people that inspire you, either the kind of the way they write, and maybe you also relate with them, or just any person in that field that that inspires you when you look out.
I enjoy Chimamanda. That is such a I get roasted on the internet for it, but she writes beautifully.
Yeah.
Like the last, I think, letters or essays that she's published were beautifully done. Like, for example, when her father passed, Notes on Grief. Notes on Grief, I think.
Yeah, that's the new one.
Yeah, that one was not the book I'm talking about. There was an essay on the New Yorker. Yeah, so that essay was amazing. In terms of my favorite book is a novel by Ayobami. Ayobami Adebayo, I think. It's called Stay With Me.
I've met her at an event. She's also really such a nice person.
She's single, Maze. Like, we would write fire. Hey. Yeah.
She's really nice. I think she had a second book. I'm not sure. Does she? No, I'm not sure. But yeah, she's really Stay With Me. That was her first
book.
Me,
Maze. I think we were reading it in the office. And I think everyone, like, I think we were 3 of us. And somehow everyone read like a chapter. Nilikuwa mvurugano. If you're going with it tonight, usijaribu kurudi hapa kama and no spoilers. So that was amazing.
Yeah, that was really nice. I also love her. So what other authors or books do you love?
Biko is amazing in the sense, especially in terms of his discipline. Biko Zulu. Yeah, his discipline is amazing and his consistency.
Yeah.
So you have to give him props.
Yeah.
Magunga does a thing. And of course, everyone I've written with.
Yeah.
Amazing people.
Yeah. Please maybe mention some of the guys on the stories.
Unia Mbambazi, engineer. There's Abisai, Munira, Chanchori, Okumu, goodness, Chepchumba, Asike. Yeah, there's guy. Let me, because people will get insulted. Banacho, Kimuyu, Kimuyu, I think. Helen Mololo, Reginalda, Vincent De Paul. Kumbe niko sawa.
So Biko, I don't know. I used to be those loyal people. Should I be saying this? I'm not sure. Loyal Biko lovers, like every Monday, was it Monday or Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Every morning, and then I would first of all, so I had subscribed, so that was back in campus, and then I would maybe just read the first paragraph. And then I know, because for Biko, used to like very long ones. I think he still does. So you need time. You need like in the evening when you want to relax and just sit down and read from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
Then I don't know what happened. I loved his series for marriage, women and marriage. I don't know, men and marriage. And like there's a series between like the last maybe 3 years, I think. Then after those series, I don't know what happened. I can't remember the last time I read. I think I don't know what happened.
Even for me myself, I don't read him as religiously as before.
As we used to before, yeah.
But you also have to contextualize it. Number one, we found Biko when we were in high school or rather campus and coming up.
Campus, yeah.
So we had a lot more time.
Yeah.
And also, there's also the aspect of sometimes the creatives we love, they leave us behind, or rather we leave them behind, because we are growing in terms of what we want, what we appreciate, and maybe they're serving a different market or a different context. So it's not necessarily that their work no longer serves us. It's maybe what we want and what they are currently serving. There's sort of a mismatch. But
I think so.
In terms of what the props I would give to Biko in terms of what he's done for writing, for especially for my generation, is to sort of make it real, in the sense that you can actually live off of writing, because the only way we knew how to, rather we imagined making a living through writing was either doing newspapers, getting published by the KLBs and whatnot. So this new avenue of your blogging.
You're the boss, you decide what to do.
So for that, I think anyone who writes, regardless of whether you appreciate Biko as a writer or what, you have to show rather you should
appreciation
show respect and appreciation for what is done.
Yeah, it's true. That's very true. So what do we want to ask?
There's that question about finance and the book.
Yeah.
I appreciate. What was the question?
Yeah. So you are to recommend certain several finance books.
So it depends. It depends. So
for people not in the finance world, or maybe you can split for people in the finance world because of balance sheet and financial reports, and the rest of us, I'm also in finance, and the rest of the people who are not that field, but will find books about money helpful to them because money is for everyone. Yeah.
So this year I've stepped away kidogo from personal finance because there's personal finance and there's the larger finance community. So if you're looking into like sort of like a doorway into understanding finances and whatnot, I suggest there's a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. It is written Kitambo, so there's those kidogo sprinklings of old English, but its foundations are good. So if you just search good finance books, ziko mingi, and they won't bore you to wherever. But if you have a good understanding of finance and maybe you want a more nuanced level in terms of understanding company finances, there's this one. Let me read it because it's called. It's by Mary Buffett. Yeah, that's the word I was forgetting. So she's somehow related to Warren Buffett. It's called Warren Buffett and the Interpretation of Financial Statements.
Okay.
I can hear the entire reading community in Kenya shouting, boring!
I can imagine. I will have to read that.
Yeah, but it was interesting. It was an interesting read. Yeah.
I'll try that. Let's do your reading habits. How do you read?
Terribly. My reading habits are terrible. I'm trying to. I actually have like a calendar hold on my calendar right now to read between 9 and 10, 15. Yeah.
How is that?
I haven't. Yesterday I did it, so I'm proud of that, but I haven't been as loyal. So mostly what happens is it pops up. I read it. I read naenda until work sort of starts feeling left out.
Yeah.
And then I get back onto the work bandwagon, and for 3 or 4 days I'm not. But I think mostly it's a function of if I'm reading an interesting book.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because when there are books I find and it flows. Like you're there, you're enjoying it. And then I had to learn how to give up on books.
Yeah.
Because there are books that they should not have been.
You struggle too much to be reading it.
Yeah. Kuna kitabu angeandika a list of things instead of a full book.
Wow.
And I know this is horrible because
I
will also be judged in this. There's someone who called by and he said that he should have been. Let me not give them airplay. Well, but yeah, some books you need to give up on.
Yeah. I agree.
Don't feel, except mine.
We'll see. So do you have any words of wisdom or just tips that you like to give to share to other readers like yourself who are struggling to read or who are lazy, or other writers in general, especially young ones that are coming up? Well, not young ones, but more like more like beginners.
I'm not googie yet. So for readers, I think find whatever you enjoy reading, and because sometimes I think tunajipeanga pressure, like you want to read the in thing, and there's things that people, the general public or the general reading community truly loves, and they're not for you. You're trying to read and I even kata. So I think being willing to give up on some books is okay. Yeah. And also, like, why are you reading? You shouldn't be reading because you have a quota of 52 books and you're miserable through the experience. So you could be reading even essays and whatnot.
You still reading.
Yeah, provided you're enjoying it. I think life is too short to be kupewa target ya reading. Apana. Then for young writers, young authors, I'm also young, so but I think when I was starting out, which is like 2 or 3 years ago, I sent an email to Oyunga Pala.
Yeah. I know him.
Yeah, and that time I was like, yeah, I'm gonna change the world.
Then the world changed you, huh?
I became lazy, but I think so. The gist of what he said, and which is something I agree on, is consistency trumps everything. Because if I go back and read the first thing I wrote on my blog, God, kill me. Anyway, but like you get more refined the more you work at your craft. So whatever the work looks like, but kidogo kidogo too. You're not gonna write today and then tomorrow
You're perfect.
your work and Chimamanda are on the same level. It won't work. Of course, there's exceptions to the rule. There are people who are massively talented.
Yeah.
But let's assume you're not, because even me, I'm not. So the way
you need work together.
Yeah, you have to work pole. And then suddenly you're writing some stuff, and then like hata unaisoma uko like, we ni mimi. Yeah, so put in the work.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Any last words?
Any last words?
Yeah.
Buy the book. And follow me on social. Check out my stories. CJ Gicheru. Is this CJ? I think yeah, it's CJ Gicheru on Insta. CJ Gicheru on Facebook. That's where I'm mostly active. On Twitter, I'm mostly talking shit about the government. Yeah, but follow me there as well. cjgicheru.com, my blog. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Should I angusha my till number?
Yeah. Hata till number tunakaribishwa.
Sijakumbusha. Ni text kwa nini social media nitakwambia.
Okay, sawa.
Yeah.
So and of course for your books you guys can get the books directly from
me. Yeah.
Let me ask you a quick question. So when it comes to, have you tried working with bookstores in Kenya? Because I've had conversations with several people, and according to them, they find it's very hard to get your book to one of the big bookstores. Have you tried working with bookstores?
Yeah, we did try with. Should I ambush out their name? Textbook Center, but to give them props, it was at the start of Corona, and everyone was cutting back on investment. So I think the answer was to give it time or something. But to be honest, I think I still prefer the direct sales method. Number one, I have control of the entire process. Because you're working with your printer. I have the data for my customers, which is very critical, because it means the next time I publish a book and I think it's good, I know I'll make at least 100 books, which returns my money. So if you're thinking of going the publishing route, you can definitely go through a publisher. But try publishing your stuff yourself and see how it goes.
And because this batch is going today, but let's just do this. So you have experience. So I'm not sure if maybe you can tell us the book, the When a Stranger Called. Were you involved with the publishing bit? Do you have how much experience, or how much do you know when it comes to like publishing stories? Did you So tell us about your publishing experience in Kenya, because
like the writing element. Like imagine this is the entire value chain. Yani the writing element is like this. It's very kidogo. Because after you write it, it has to be edited. Like don't release a book that's not edited. Especially there are mistakes you won't catch. Even for me, I know I publish nonsense sometimes because nimechoka. I've read it, I can't see some things. So don't publish it. It's unedited. Get someone who's good at it. And then after that, there's now, I don't know, I don't remember what they are calling it, but you have to work it in a format that is publishable. So after that, you get a designer to design the book cover. All this cost money. And then now you get the printer to print a couple of copies. Like the first time I saw it.
You've made it.
I've made it. And then yeah, now start selling. Now the selling bit is hectic because it means you're constantly selling yourself and putting yourself out there, because it's easy to put your blog out there because wasipoipenda hiyo niche yao.
Yeah. But for book you need
for
them
book,
to buy.
yeah, and they bought it actually. So your shit needs to be tight. Yeah.
So I'm sure the reception has been good.
Yeah.
Otherwise you wouldn't be planning for a second one or
like I would say in total, I think we are coming close to, I don't know if we've hit 1,000. I'm pretty sure we've hit 1,000 copies. Yeah. So that means it's made at least a meter in revenue.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's good. We are
I don't have the money, guys. So it's 13 people, so do the math. Yeah.
So another question. So do you think that there's enough support among you others? Like when you wanted to look for a publisher and whatnot, do you feel like there's that information out there? Do you feel like we need to do more?
Government needs to do more. Like they need not to tax me. Mr. Taxes.
Okay. So the government is never gonna do anything.
Government is never gonna do anything.
Yeah. You among the community, do you feel like there's enough support?
I think you have to build your own community.
Yeah.
It's okay to like say that there are no communities in existence, but tutaduni.
You have to
create our own communities. Yeah. And support each other.